Hello again. You just caught me doing a little navel gazing. It's a swell pastime for you, but not for your characters. So, what is navel gazing in the hands or minds of your characters anyway? It's when the writer enters the point of view character's head and stays there way too long. It's thoughts spilling forth on the page, stream of consciousness style. Now you might be wondering what's wrong with that. Well, watching someone think is like watching paint dry or grass grow. You might appreciate The Thinker by Rodin, but you can't actually hear or see his thoughts. It's possible that all that's going on inside that head is, what kind of takeout should I get tonight? Chinese or Thai? Maybe Vietnamese. We don't appreciate the thinker because of the thoughts, but because the sculpture itself is a thing of beauty. Likewise, you can't expect your reader to appreciate your character's thoughts unless those thoughts are a compelling source of forward movement in your story. If they are, your character isn't navel gazing and you're safe. Navel gazing is a kind of writing in which the author gets stuck inside the character's head and thereby removes us from the current action of the story. This is most likely to happen in a first-person point of view, of course, but I've encountered it in third-person point of views as well. It's not that often that your character's thoughts are super relevant to the story. Navel gazing tends to be an attempt to share with the reader some piece of backstory, what the character is planning to do next, or most often, how the character feels. In the case of backstory, you can use a brief passage of narrative exposition. That's when you employ your narrative voice, not the point of view character's voice, to share something with the reader. You can also have the backstory revealed in dialogue, and then you never have to leave the scene, and in fact, you often up the tension by having more than one character on the page. Or you can use flashback. Then you're writing in scene, but you do leave the now action to go back in time. In the case of what your character is planning, again, you can use a line or two of narrative exposition, or you can use a thought, just don't get stuck in the character's head. Stick to what's relevant and forward moving. Feelings are the big one here. If you've fallen down the well, or into your character's belly button as the case may be, ask yourself how a theater audience would know how your character feels right now. Put your character on a stage in your mind's eye and watch him. Does he wince in pain or pace with anger or chew his nails with anxiety? Does he scowl or smile or sing or slam his glass on the table, coo at a baby, or cry in his beer? When you imagine your story being acted out on the stage, you are forced to get outside both your character's head and the narrative voice. The only thing remaining to you is action. Show your reader your character's feelings through action on the stage of the page. Now, here's your 60-second writing tip. Navel gazing happens when writers get stuck inside their characters' heads. Readers get stuck with large blocks of thoughts on the page. Not all thinking is navel gazing. Remember, navel gazing removes us from the action and stalls the story's forward movement. By doing so, navel gazing messes up your pacing, creating an aside where you don't actually want one. The solution to navel gazing is just don't do it. If you think you might have a navel gazing character, first, trade that crop top for a tunic, and second, imagine your character up on a stage, actually going through the motions of what you're trying to convey to the reader. Force yourself to get out of his head and show those feelings through action and dialogue. Doing so will intensify your pacing and keep your readers engaged with compelling action. I'm Alida, your writing coach at Word Essential, and that was today's 60-second writing tip. You can find this and more at wordessential.com/blog. Now, if you don't mind, my navel is actually kind of cute, so